Hello and welcome back to the All Sports Network YouTube channel. For I am Jack Trulio and I was once again joined by my co-host Eddie Vicente. We talked about whether each Western Conference team is a contender or pretender. Please, if you haven't already, hit that little red button down below and maybe while you're at it, throw us a like. I would also like to mention that starting next Monday, we will be doing a daily series, Monday through Friday, of a review of each NBA night, but it will be in the mornings, probably posted around 8:30. Also, if you'd like to follow us on social media, you can find us at all_sport_network. Start with the hottest team in the NBA, the Utah Jazz. Do you think they're a contender or a pretender this year?
I do. I think I said this in the last podcast, but I do in fact do think they are legit. They, I don't know, they've been playing like a really good team. They're definitely better than the 2016 Hawks. They can compare to them a lot, but the difference is the Hawks didn't have a guy who could score 20 every night. And their high score was like 16 points. And that was like Al Horford or whatever though. So, um, I definitely do think the Jazz are honestly truly contenders this year.
I think so too. Not to discount what they did last year, because they were a really good team last year, even, but
Hmm.
they're just way better this year. It looks like a team that's been playing together forever. They truly, I think, I've heard a great analogy that they are playing like how the Spurs used to play in the early
Oh
to
yeah.
mid
Hmm.
2000s, and I think
For
that's
sure.
really true.
Yeah,
And
no, their
I don't
passing
see him.
is pretty incredible as a team.
Yeah, I think so too. And sorry, I'm just completely blank, but there's not too many holes on their team.
Mm-mm.
I just don't know what they're missing, to be honest. Obviously there's things you can add here and there, but I feel like they're right now, saying that AD's hurt and the Lakers have some injuries and whatnot, they're the most complete team right now. Once the Lakers are healthy, I think the Lakers are the most complete team. But as of things stand right now, I think the Jazz are the most complete team in the Western Conference.
No, I agree. I think, and it's just my opinion though. Probably the only thing is that this Jazz team, I don't know, they're kind of small. Like Royce O'Neal is a great power forward for them, but he is 6'4". I think we might have to wait and see how that, affects them in the playoffs and all that. And let's say they do go against a team like the Lakers, it's, we saw it kind of, we've seen it for years now. Smaller guards, unless you're like a Stephen Curry or whatever, though, you get, like they get pretty bullied in the playoffs. And
Mm-hmm.
Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley, none of those guys are really big. And so I don't know, that might be the only issue that with like Rudy Gobert, he can't really, he can't shoot at all. Um, but those two things, though, I know when I say it, it sounds like a big problem, but it's really not, because they can really, I don't know. They might just be good enough to where they won't get bullied, you know. Uh Also the height thing though, like regular season wise though, it has not been an issue for them at all. So I could totally, be wrong. Um, but I don't know. I think we should all be expecting great things though from this Jazz roster for sure.
I agree totally. I think the size, it doesn't play too much of a role. I feel like in the regular season, like you were saying, but
Hmm.
definitely in the postseason, I think they have a move to make to try and get a more versatile defender because against the Lakers, that's not the greatest matchup for them right now. Even yeah, I think Donovan Mitchell and Conley, they're both pretty good defensively, but they haven't gotten totally destroyed in postseasons defensively, either of them. But you never know when you're a guy like LeBron is seeking you out on every play.
Yeah, and I mean Westbrook is, he can be pretty crazy with the ball, but last year, it was some pretty standard. He couldn't get a regular layup, on like the Lakers. He was getting pretty after like games like one. Game one, he was, I don't know, they were kind of just playing with him. And that's the thing though that, I hope doesn't happen with this Jazz team. because Mike Conley or Donovan Mitchell, either one or both, I mean, they're both big parts to this team. Mike Conley's really found his role with his Jazz team, and yeah, I don't know. It's also another thing too of like, the 2014 Spurs. I mean, they won the championship. They're not the most talented team. They weren't the most talented team in my opinion. But they just play great basketball, and that's what this Jazz team does.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about. I think at the end of the day, we all think the Lakers will be there, and it would take like some massive injuries or a massive collapse for them not to make it. But
Hmm.
there is something to be said about the team that stays healthy all year and is able to play together all year. Because although the Lakers have looked good with all their new pieces, they are bringing in a lot of new pieces that it can take some time to develop chemistry and everything.
Oh, for sure. Also, even if the Lakers are healthy, I really wouldn't be surprised if this Jazz team took them to seven, honestly. Because I mean their bench is pretty good. Their shooting is incredible. Like we've been talking about, their passing is also insane. And another big thing too, though, is that defensively, they can all play defense. Um, and that's pretty good, honestly. Royce O'Neal, I might have criticized him on his height and stuff, for him being only 6'4" and all that. But I mean, inside and out, he can really guard, like 1 through 4, uh, you know, really well, and so this team, they're just capable of a lot, and I think they're capable of doing a lot more, honestly.
I agree with that for sure. I don't even think they've quite hit their ceiling on what they can be. They're still like I don't even think Bogdanovich has been his best yet. He's still coming off. Well, he broke his wrist, was it, or hand or something like that
Uh,
before the bubble,
yeah, something like that. Yeah, because he wasn't in the bubble.
right? And they're
Yeah,
still trying to work him back in. And I think
yeah.
they can only get better. And maybe they make a move, maybe they don't. I think either way, they should feel good about where they're at.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. I definitely agree. Also the thing too with this team though is that I don't really know. I question the longevity of this team, honestly, because Mike Conley's 32-ish, right?
Hmm.
Joe Ingles is like 33, 34, Bogdanovich is like 32. So I question certain things with this team. Because if you look at age and all, though, this might, unless they get like another star or whatever, though, but this might be like, at least for now, the best chance that they got, at contending. So yeah, I
Right.
just I just wanted to say that.
Pretty much their future is just Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, and I guess Clarkson for 4 more years, which he
Yeah,
has been outstanding this year. I
Clarkson, six
kind
man
of
of the year.
questioned the
Yeah.
contract.
Hmm.
Yeah, I questioned the contract, but hey,
Was
if you're
it?
going to score
Did he
nearly
get
20 points
64
a game
million?
off the bench, yeah, yeah,
Was it? He got 64
4 for 64.
for. Okay, that's actually really good.
Mm-hmm. Especially looking at it now.
Yeah, no, for 6 man of the year, that's really good. But another thing too, though, is that Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, they're both on supermax contracts.
Right, so
Uh,
you have them
s-
for a long time,
yeah, but
or
moving
at
forward
least
though,
five.
there's gonna be less money to get, someone like a Bogdanovich, someone like a Joe Ingles, because you're just gonna have to get cheaper guys, honestly, or draft really well, and that could be harder, seeing as how they usually have a pretty good record in the regular season.
No, you nailed it right there. It's kind of now or never. Well, not never. I feel like you're going to have Mitchell around for a long time if everything
Oh
goes
yeah.
right. But
Hmm.
now is definitely a good time to go for it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Because honestly, if they really want to contend in the future, they might just have to trade Gobert. Because he's going to be getting a lot of money really soon, and they might really need that money in 2 years ish, 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. And I think they will. go get another piece or something because it is a new ownership, and new ownership tends to want to spend money early to show players, they're committed to winning, and like that, the Jazz are now a team that free agents maybe want to go to, or they're trying to show that they will spend money at least.
Hmm.
All right.
Yeah. Also, another thing too, though, is that honestly, I mean, I don't know the owner at all. I don't know Donovan Mitchell at all, right? Um, but you just know they're probably gonna lean towards. They're definitely gonna lean towards doing what's best. And that would be having Donovan Mitchell be your star guy. I feel like they would easily pick Donovan Mitchell over Rudy Gobert any day.
Oh, no doubt. I
Yeah.
think everyone would,
Hmm.
besides Rudy Gobert and his people.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Let's move on to a next potential contender team, the LA Clippers. I think we're all, a little bullish on them, but there's still a lot of talent on the team. So where are you at with them right now? Contender or pretender?
um, Look, we joke. We make so much. We make fun of Paul George so much. But he is a star player. Kawhi Leonard is a superstar. They got good guys like Serge Ibaka. Um, I would have to go with contender, honestly. But
Yeah, no doubt.
also, unless they make some moves like trade Lou Williams and all that, though, unless they make some big moves, not big moves, unless they make some much needed moves, I don't really see them in the Western Conference Finals, honestly.
Yeah, I think you got to. They're definitely a contender for how much we joke on them. We've definitely clowned and pointed out Paul George's miscues, but at the end of the day, he can be like he is a top five talent, like just everything he can do.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
But I think there's still a lot of holes on this team, and you know they're great right now. They're great defensively, but they really lack playmaking. I feel like they lack shooting as of right now, and they could even
Kennard,
get better
yeah,
defensively.
yeah. I thought with Kennard they would definitely add a new level of shooting. Honestly, um, well, not a new level, but I definitely thought their shooting was going to be better. But I don't know. He hasn't. They extended him and all that, but I don't know. He hasn't really been playing all that great, honestly. And especially now they're gonna have Paul George out because I feel like their bench unit is not as strong, really, as it was last year. I
No,
feel like Lou
they just
Williams
got
is.
George back.
Oh, they just got George back.
Yeah, he
Oh,
played
okay, that's good.
Friday night and tonight.
Oh, okay, my bad then.
Oh, all good.
That's okay. I mean,
Yeah,
he'll be done
I
for the
think
playoffs.
yeah, I
No, I'm
you
kidding.
know
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You never know.
you,
Yeah,
you never know.
yeah.
Um, I think I liked the Kennard trade, and then it was kind of weird they decided to sign him when they didn't have to right away. They traded for him, they could have played it out, and then they gave him a massive contract, and he hasn't really added anything to the team, in my opinion. He's had some good games and some good spurts, but I'm just not sure what they were expecting, and then why they
Um,
paid him all this money. Like I know what they were expecting, but like after I don't know.
yeah, this Clippers team, it's really weird because you have, I mean, holy crap, you have Kawhi Leonard on your team, and you got Paul George, you would think, much like the Lakers, it would, I mean, before the Clippers, choked, it would be easier for them to get talent, because usually players look at a team that is, that are contenders, then they go, okay, I'm gonna take a pay cut to go play there, whatever. Um,
And
Guys,
in a big market.
yeah,
Oh, sorry to
exactly.
cut you off there.
Oh no, 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 it's perfectly fine, but it seems like Serge really only did that because he's won with Kawhi in the past. Um, I mean they had to pay Marcus Morris quite a bit of money. Um, and they extended Luke Kennard. It seems like they're just trying to get as much talent as possible. And so they have to overpay, which is honestly surprising. They extended Reggie Jackson. It's not the best. And it's just like it's pretty weird seeing a contender really just try and keep as much talent as possible. Because usually for contenders, it's not the hardest thing really to get good players on your team once you have those star players, signed for, a little bit, right?
You would think so, especially being in a big market like
Oh yeah,
LA,
yeah, especially with LA, yeah.
and they were so exciting. It's Kawhi and Paul George. Two probably the best two-way players in the league and all this,
Mhm.
but they haven't built around them the greatest. They just kind of kept what they had, which wasn't really maybe the greatest collection or a collection of players that have won anything. Not to be, too rude or too
No, it's
disrespectful of
no,
those
no, it's
players,
okay.
but
Yeah,
what have they really done? Nothing really. So
yeah,
I think it matters having like championship caliber players around them or players that have done that. That's why the Serge Ibaka deal was a great deal. But then you look at everything else around them, it's like, what are you doing? Is the plan to trade Paul George and hopefully get a whole bunch back? Like I just
yeah. Well, honestly, can you even get a whole bunch back with Paul George? I don't think so. Unless it's like a team like the Magic.
I think we would be surprised actually. For some reason, feel like he still holds value in the league. But
Well,
who
I definitely
knows?
don't think they can get what the Clippers gave up, though.
No, not even close. And they have no picks, so
Oh yeah, and they have no picks, for a long time. But yeah, this team is just, Marcus Morris. I feel like Marcus Morris works best in an environment like Boston, where the system is just great, and he can play his role.
mhm.
Um, Lou Williams, dude, Lou Williams, in my opinion, Lou Williams is so overrated. Um, come playoff time, I don't feel like you can count Lou Williams at all. You know, and same thing with Reggie Jackson, honestly. But it's like, yeah, this team doesn't have any playmaking whatsoever. You see Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, they have these like 7, 6, 8 assist games and stuff, and it's like that's really cool. But come playoff time when the game slows down, you got better defenders coming at you and all that. I don't think they can do that, at least as much in the playoffs.
Right. And it's like, it's great that you have Pat Beverly, but if Pat Beverly's your starting point guard, that's not great. If Pat Bev was coming off the bench playing 17 like spot up minutes defensively, then
Hmm.
that's great. But as your starting point guard, that's not great. And, I think Paul George is maybe more of a natural playmaker than Kawhi. Like it seems a bit, well, everything seems a bit robotic with Kawhi, but
Yeah.
it's not as natural. And he's a good passer. No, don't get that wrong, but I don't think that's how you should ultimately be utilizing him offensively
Oh,
because he's
definitely
basically
not.
a point guard.
Pretty much. Patrick Beverly, I mean, he did pretty well in Houston, but that's because James Harden. I mean, offensively, James Harden's he's a pretty good playmaker. You
We're
know,
seeing it. He's leading the league in assists right now with
exactly.
11.
And there's another guy like here that can take over that because Patrick Beverly, I mean, he's the point guard, and he's really just a defender. I mean, guess he's a 3-and-D guy, but it's not because threes are, the best.
Right. I think we've hit on everything, or at least I have on the Clippers. You have anything else to add on the Clippers?
Nicholas Batum, great addition.
Yes. Thank you. I completely
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Hmm. Oh, that's
$1
good.
million move. Now that's a good move that we can you know, give him credit for that. That was a great
Yeah,
move,
no,
and that's for super.
that is a good move for sure. Yeah.
Next team, the Lakers. I think we both think they're contenders.
Yeah. Hmm.
Just got to get healthy. Ultimately, there's not a whole lot there.
People keep
Well, obviously
criticizing.
there's a lot.
What'd you say?
I said there's not a whole lot there, but I was trying to say that there is a lot there.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. Marcus Sol. Have you noticed he's been getting a lot of hate recently?
No, I haven't. I
Okay.
guess I've been missing that.
Yeah, no, he's been. Yeah, no, everyone. A lot of people have been saying to trade him and all that, but I
Is
feel
it
like people need to
on social
recognize.
media or network shows? Sorry,
Social media. Been seeing a lot on
social
social
media.
media. Yeah, I
Hmm,
feel like people need to recognize that. Guy like Marcus Sol is really just for the playoffs. I feel like in a playoff time though, he's gonna do really well. Last year for the Raptors in the bubble, I mean, he was defensively, he was all there.
Yeah, but what that tells me is they're not watching the games because when you watch the games, he is just a brilliant playmaker. Like
Oh,
he's
it's
not there to
passing. Oh
score.
yeah. Oh, definitely not anymore. No.
It's obvious, he's coasting through the regular season, but I think he's been good. They play him around 15 minutes, right? If I'm right,
Mhm. Yeah.
they're not killing him or overworking him or anything. I think
No.
you nailed it. He's definitely there for the playoffs. Everything I've read and seen. He's a great guy, a great leader. Everyone seems to really respect and like him. And I think that's just the
Mhm.
kind of guys that they want around. He's a champion. He's won a championship before in Toronto.
Mhm. As a starting center, and that was not that long ago. Um,
No, 2 years
you know,
ago.
exactly. So this also last year in the bubble. I mean, that guy, he was the defensive. He was like the best defensive player the Raptors probably had on the floor. Like in crunch time and all that. And it's pretty great, honestly, seeing how I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be pretty great seeing how the Lakers are gonna use him in the playoffs. Because I feel like they're probably y- you know stop using Montrez as much. Because I feel like Montrez is definitely more of a regular season player though. But I feel like if he has a smaller role though, he can definitely add a lot to a team.
Oh, for sure. I think he's been in. They put him in the perfect situation this
Hmm.
year. Just go out and play hard. Like
Oh yeah. Hmm.
with the Clippers last year, he was asked more. There was more asked of him, and he's a good player, but you shouldn't ask too much of him. I feel like if you
No,
can get
no.
your between 10 to 13 points and like 7 rebounds from him off the bench, like 20 minutes a game, that's perfect.
It's great, honestly. The Lakers are not gonna, get him and tell him, "Hey, go guard Jokic."
Right.
You know, you're gonna have AD, they're gonna have Marco Gasol guard Jokic. So I feel like it works very much better for Montrez. Also, Montrez is, I mean, he's playing with some pretty good playmakers.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's just really good for him. And I won't be
There's not a
surprised if
guy on.
he. Can you say it one more time?
I was going to say there's not a guy that can't get him the ball on the floor.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like I won't be surprised if he accepts that the player option, to stay with the team for another year.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't as well. I think, there's not a whole lot to dislike about the Lakers, but is there anything that has concerned you this year besides the AD's Achilles injury?
It's really seeing the AD injury. It's like really weird because it's like seeing the fact that we all know LeBron is still so good. You know, I have, and seeing how he's still the best player in the NBA, I have no. I'm not worried at all. I'm not worried at all about him carrying the team. Um, because with AD out, that means Montrez is probably going to go back to putting up almost 20 a game,
Which is fine for the regular season.
Yeah, exactly though. And that's what they need right now is someone to just do some stuff in the regular season though. So I feel like people need to give the Lakers a little bit more credit for the talent they acquired over the offseason. With AD out, that means, probably Schroeder's gonna get a few more points, Montrez gonna get a few more points, and honestly that's pretty good, you know.
Hmm.
That's not the I mean, you would love to have AD back, but this is a regular season. I feel like you'll be fine.
He admitted to, and so did the Lakers. I don't want to take this out of context, but it hasn't been the best AD yet. Obviously, you're way better with AD. You need AD to
Hmm.
win a championship. He's a top 5 player, at least in the league, but he wasn't taking the regular season the most serious this year, which makes sense. He's coming off an awesome year. They just won the championship, so I don't. As
Hmm.
long as he's going to be okay and it's not that serious, it might not be the end of the world for them because I think they
No,
can definitely stay between the 3-1 range without him.
yeah. Also, I mean, like, yeah, they were talking about how it's not the best AD. AD when he's not at his best, you know, he's still
Still
better
really
than
good.
like 99% of most power forwards.
Oh,
Because he was still putting up what 22, 24, right? Still playing excellent
right.
defense.
He's still like
Uh,
a top 3 power forward, regardless, numbers wise.
Exactly, and it's like, I don't know. I feel like even the first round, the Lakers will be okay, but they'll definitely need him
Mm-hmm.
there for the second, the conference finals, and all that, though. But I
And
don't much, not much to worry about.
his numbers were also down. He wasn't like going into the paint looking for as much contact as usual. But once
Yeah.
it got time to winning time, he did that. He was shooting a lot more, getting comfortable with, stretching his range, which is only going to help him and the Lakers. So
Hmm.
I don't think there's a whole lot to worry about as long as he's going to be all right, which it looks like he will be.
Oh yeah, last year, even like a team against the Rockets, we all thought AD was gonna just eat. He was just shooting a bunch of mid-range shots. And we've been seeing that quite a bit this year. At least I've been seeing that quite a bit this year in the games that he has played, though, quite a bit of mid-range shots.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have your guy shooting mid-range shots, like, you gotta be so happy, because when he has to actually, like, when he has to get those points and he has to drive into the paint and all that, though, it's like, wow, it's like, I don't know, it's always cool seeing the fact that a guy isn't even being used to his full potential, and that's because they don't really need it, in the moment.
Yeah, you know you're good when the best power forward in the league doesn't even have to be used like a power forward.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
I think there's only for me.
Hmm.
What do you think about the Phoenix Suns? Do you think they're a potential contender, or do you think they're a pretender? Maybe just a
Um,
good team right now.
I think they're just a really good team right now. I don't think they're a contender per se.
Mm-hmm.
Um, oh, sorry about that. But I don't know. It's just Chris Paul, great player. You know, they've been playing pretty good, honestly. I mean, Chris Paul, I think he might have gotten 20 assists like 2 nights ago.
Yeah,
Um,
he did. It was impressive.
yeah, no. So I mean, Chris Paul is still great though, and all that. I just don't know if this team's experienced enough, because they haven't made the playoffs in how long. Um,
ten
yeah, so
plus years, right?
yeah, something like that.
Was it
It's
since Steve Nash, or did they
no,
make
I
it
think I
after
think they
that?
make it. I think they made it in 2010. I think they made the playoffs in 2010.
Okay, I think
But
you're right.
yeah, but that's still a while. So I feel like, I don't know. I still feel like they might need to add a few more pieces, honestly. But you know, they're still pretty good. Like Michael Bridges, he's at times, honestly, they're probably their third best player. He doesn't get talked about as much.
I really like him.
Yeah, I really like him too, though. Honestly, he has an argument for being like the best 3-and-D player in the uh, NBA. He
Right,
has an
and
argument.
he can do so much. I think I don't want to call them a pretender because I like really good team instead of
Mhm.
pretender actually.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
think they're just a really good team. They they maybe they have the contracts and the pieces to go get some players potentially, but
Hmm.
if things go wrong with some other teams, I could see them making the Western Conference Finals. Like I don't
Yeah.
think that would be crazy if they did.
Yeah. I mean, I
And
don't think they're
like
a
you said,
contender, but like you're saying, they can definitely just give any team problems.
right, they're going to be a tough out every night, and
Hmm.
you know it's crazy. It's really cool to see what Chris Paul can do. He can just go in and instantly it's his team. They play at his pace because last year the Suns played at a really fast paced tempo.
Hmm.
This year they're at the bottom of you know uh, tempo and whatnot, and it took some time. Some adjustments from Devin
Hmm.
Booker. He didn't get off to his best start, but if you can play really good half court offense like the Thunder, or not the Thunder, sorry, the Suns can,
Hmm.
you can win any series almost, or at least give yourself a shot. I feel like.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Chris Paul might not be like a superstar anymore per se, but he is still so intelligent, and he can still control the game pretty well. You know. And another thing too, though, is that playoff Chris Paul is a real thing that I don't think really gets talked about that much. Um, Regular season, he's probably going to give you, 15, 16 points nowadays. But come playoff time, he's going to be dropping 30 and 40 out of nowhere. And like 8, 9, 10 assists to go along with that. So, with elite
And
defense too.
he's also not a guy you don't want to see in the fourth quarter because him off that screen and at the top of the key with that crossover getting to the elbow, he's going to get there every time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And
Also, his shooting. I mean, he is. his shooting is so great in the fourth quarter.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't think that's talked about enough. Obviously, he's had some playoff collapses. Who hasn't when you've played that long and you've been at that level for so long? But
Hmm.
I think more times than not, he's been really good in
Oh yeah.
playoffs and, really good fourth quarter player.
Hmm. No, for sure.
I think, you were talking about him earlier, but Mikal Bridges, he is a great 3-and-D player, but I think he's almost more than a 3-and-D player because he's really good at driving. He's a good playmaker and he makes really smart, timely cuts. He can kind of do a little bit of everything offensively and defensively. He's just almost a lockdown defender.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. That's one thing I like about Chris Paul. It's so weird because Chris Paul, he handles the ball a lot. We all know that.
Hmm.
But even when he goes to, you know, these teams, these smaller guys often get more opportunity to like handle the ball, do what they can do and all that. And it's really great to see, in my opinion.
Oh, for sure. And I don't even think they've totally unlocked DeAndre Ayton yet with Chris Paul.
No, no. Oh no. I feel like by the end of the season though, I feel like DeAndre Ayton, I feel like him and Chris Paul are gonna have pretty good connection. And next year it's gonna be even better, honestly, for both of them working together.
Oh, no doubt. I think we've seen it in spurts, and when it like is clicking, it's like, holy cow, this is
Yeah.
we
Hmm.
got something here.
Yeah. Central position is really never a position you have to worry about with Chris Paul. Chris Paul will make any center much better than they actually are.
It's nice to see DeAndre, and he probably he's definitely capable of putting up big numbers, but he's not pouting. He's been his best defensively this year. So,
Dude, his defense has taken a huge jump. You might look at his defense now and be like, "There's nothing special about it." You gotta remember how he was when he came into the league. His defense was garbage.
yeah, he was just being absolutely tortured in the pick and roll, just
Hmm.
tortured.
Oh yeah, and I feel like
People
with Chris
were
Paul
just
there, gonna help him.
I, I'm a Portland fan, but it's been cool to see what Dame can do, and obviously they're a good team, but
Hmm.
I don't think they're a contender, so I don't think we have to hit on them too much contender wise, and I think we talked about them a lot in the last video. So I think
Yeah.
they're just a good team, team that will make the playoffs, maybe a
Well,
round two team, but
yeah. In my opinion, I feel like we're gonna see Dame have to carry this team once again to the playoffs.
mhm, I think yeah, he's got a big workload, and then I think we'll hit on Denver really quickly, and I think that's good from the West. Would you say
Hmm.
so?
Oh yeah. Hmm.
So I don't have Denver as a contender right now. I think there's just too many holes. I think, obviously Jokic is insane. I mean, Murray just put up 50 points last night, was it? I think it was last night. And obviously those guys are great.
Hmm.
I just, I don't think they're not the same team as last year, is I guess what I'm trying to get to. What are you thinking on the Nuggets?
Um, I also think that they are worse. Um, Losing guys like Jeremy Grant has really hurt them. Um, Michael Porter Jr. hasn't. I don't know. I feel like coaching with him is kind of inconsistent. Um, you know, it's probably using him a little bit more though. I feel like, he. I don't know. I just feel like if they had better coaching though, he would have grown to a better player by now, in my opinion. Because
I,
sometimes his
I
playing is
think
just
he's
so
both.
inconsistent.
That
What'd you
is
say?
true. It's a little effort on his end too.
Oh, well, yeah,
I
for sure.
feel like
Yeah.
it, and obviously he was out some time with COVID safety protocols. I don't know if it was said if he had COVID or what, but he was out like a month.
Hmm.
So he's still working back into shape and trying to get going again. But yeah, he hasn't quite made the leap that we thought he would after the bubble.
Yeah, yeah. Also, Jermichael Green, he's no Jeremy Grant. He's a good player, super solid. Um, but they definitely need Jeremy, a guy like him back because he did quite a bit for them. And I feel like this team, honestly, Gary Harris, he's been Gary Harris, I guess. Jamal Murray's been really good. Nikola Jokic has been great. But this team definitely, in my opinion, yeah, definitely did get a little worse. I mean, not little, but they definitely get worse. They definitely got worse since the bubble.
And I think, if you're a Nuggets fan, you shouldn't be worried at all just because they are so young. They, for the most part, have everyone under contract and they have
Hmm.
tradable pieces. Like they could go make some moves this off season right now, know,
For sure.
next year, a couple years. Like there's time and they have drafted really well, in my opinion. Maybe there's something there and RJ Hampton, maybe Bobo or something. Like who
Hmm.
knows? So we'll see with them.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
I think before we move to the East, I got to ask. So with Jamal Murray, he's having a pretty good year, averaging 19, and blew up in the bubble. And I thought he actually the first time they made the playoffs, he had a pretty good playoffs. But do you think this is just kind of the player he is, just kind of inconsistent and maybe turns it up in moments?
Um, I've noticed, I don't know, with him, this is from what I've seen, kind of has that Clay Thompson like thing to him
I would
though, where
agree.
like when they catch fire, they catch fire. It's
And when
like,
they are not, they are not.
yeah, with Clay Thompson, even when he's on fire, he'll still give you like 20 points.
I
Um,
would say that with Jamal too, and good
yeah,
playmaker.
yeah. The difference with Jamal though is that Jamal handles the ball a lot more than Clay Thompson.
Hmm.
Clay Thompson really just catch and shoots. That's why it's great for him though, because it's like, he doesn't really need the ball in his hands. He doesn't need to handle the ball at all though. But Jamal Murray is a point guard, and so, I feel like he probably just has to be a little more consistent with his playmaking and his scoring in the regular season, and hopefully he can go off in the playoffs again because that really helped him last year.
Hmm. I think he can, like you're saying, when he's on, he's on. I
Hmm.
think he's. You probably saw the stat, but he's the first player in ever to score 50 points without shooting a free throw. Like
Oh yeah.
that's insane.
Hmm.
Like you don't see that a whole lot.
And this field
Is
goal
that a?
percentage was insane that game.
Hmm. Yeah, I is that every team for you in the West?
Yep.
Thank you for watching the All Sports Network YouTube channel. If you enjoyed, please hit the red button down below and leave a like. Also, if you want to see more additional content, you can see that in the ASN playlist.